Well, hi everybody, this is Dr. Schroeder with this week's video introduction to week number 5 of our class in the Theoretical Foundations of Teaching and Nursing Education. And now that we're into week 5, we're officially at the halfway point. And in week number 4, the primary focus was on talking about the evaluation and the assessment of learning. And that's an important part of nursing education because part of what we do is education, of course. We teach and we try to transfer our knowledge to students. But just as important is that we have to have a process of evaluating and assessing how well our educational efforts are actually, what are their outcomes like? Are our students really learning what it is that we report that they should learn? And so that was really the focus this week. Of course, we talked about Socratic teaching and how Socratic teaching is an important aspect of education. But Socratic teaching is really more of a way for us to help build knowledge. And so in addition to building knowledge, we have to look back and say, how do we assess? How do we see that the students really meet their measurable outcomes? We talked about measurable outcomes earlier in the class, and this is why coming up with outcomes that are both measurable and observables, just like in a treatment plan, is important. If the outcomes or the objectives are written too vaguely, then we really can't say whether the outcomes were really met. And so as we move forward into week 5, we'll continue to talk about this concept of evaluation and incorporation of evidence-based practice into our teaching. Also in week number 4, everybody should have submitted your teaching plan. I anticipate having the grading on those teaching plans as well as the discussions. They'll be completed this week, certainly by the end of the week. Normally I would say that I should probably have those done by Friday, certainly by the weekend, but everybody will have feedback on those. In week number 5, the focus is on evidence-based practice in education. And here when we talk about evidence-based practice, I'm not really talking about evidence-based nursing practice. I'm talking about education-based educational practices. We use the same process for evaluating research and evaluating our practices in nursing education, just like we do in nursing practice. And so the task for this week is to identify some form of educational intervention that you would do, some sort of a teaching intervention, and do a PICO, just like you did back in research and in nursing research and evidence-based practice. Identify some search terms to try to find the best evidence-based practice that you can for that intervention, and talk about and identify what does the evidence say about your particular intervention. Interventions could be, for example, like simulation. You may have simulation as a way that you want to transfer knowledge and convey knowledge and assess if students are learning. Well, what does the literature say about that? What studies have been done on evaluation? Or it may be on working in teams. It may be in just doing papers and presentations on testing methodologies, what have you. That's really going to be the focus of this week's topics. As I said, the grading for week number 4 should be completed by the end of the week. And once again, I'll be participating along with you, posing some questions. And as I've said in the class also, as we kind of move through this course, feel free to pick my brain about anything. If you have any questions about not just this course, but just anything to do with nursing education. Sometimes it can feel, as a novice educator, it can feel difficult because there's not a lot of how-to information out there. Really most of how we learn what we do in education, besides of course using evidence-based interventions, but the real nuts and bolts of it comes through mentorship and finding a educator or finding fellow educators that are willing to take you under their wings. So as much as possible, I'd like to help you with your goals as much as I can and help you however I can in being the best educator you can be. So as always, let me know if you have any questions. Happy Memorial Day. I am actually taping this on Memorial Day. Have kind of a little temporary office set up here, which is why you see kind of a little bit of a different background than my usual office. So I hope that you're having a great weekend. I hope that things are going well. As you have questions, let me know, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the discussion forums.